Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting for Wednesday, September 13, 2023 at 6:30 PM in the auditorium, 274 Front Street, third floor. Roll call, please.
Laflamme,
Here.
Zagorowski, Balakir,
Here.
Labrie,
Here.
Tillotson, Roy,
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Also participating tonight on Zoom, I have, I believe, Counselor Dobaz, and that's it. Anyone else on Zoom from the City Council?
Jimmy on the right.
Yeah, I'm on. Tillotson's on.
Tillison's now on and participating through Zoom this evening as a member of the Finance Committee.
I am a member of the Finance Committee.
What's that, Jim?
What's that?
What did you say? We didn't hear you.
I don't know. Maybe
Oh.
you didn't, but
Well, you,
I
okay.
can hear you now. I can hear everybody now.
Okay, thank you. Also here tonight is Councilor Bill Coogan of Ward 7. We have our attorney, our administrative assistant, the engineer, and we have the Human Resource Department Chief Steve. I forgot the last name. Zahowski, and his assistant. And also, I'm sorry, from the mayor's chief of staff, Michael Pease. Okay. In compliance with the open meeting law, the city of Chicopee is recording this meeting. Is anyone in the audience or on Zoom, video or audio taping this meeting? If so, please state your name and organization. We have nobody present in the auditorium, and I do not see anyone on Zoom this evening. So we'll proceed with item number 1 on the agenda. Item number 1. Let me just read it here. Order that the sum of $52,388.72 being hereby is appropriated to the following name account: Human Resource Salary Account for Benefit Coordinator, account number 1152-0001-514030. Said amount is to be taken from available funds in the stabilization fund. And this evening, I just would like to call up, we'll start and have Steve and his assistant come up and then just do just a quick synopsis of why this is needed.
President Laflamme, members of the committee, thank you for having us this evening. This is Karen Gay. She's our benefits manager here for the city. And this requisition is for the position that we asked for earlier to fund a second benefits coordinator. As I mentioned earlier, Karen handles over 4,100 employees between retirees, employees, and dependents, doing all the benefits work. And to help us get better reconciled with our benefits program, we want to bring on a second benefits coordinator, and this is the salary that would fund that.
Thank you. Okay. Before we go into us, I'm going to see if there's any public input. Is there any public input from the floor? Is there any public input from Zoom? Seeing none, I'll take a motion. Motion made and second to close public input. Roll call, please.
Laflamme,
Yes.
Balakir,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
Yes.
Roy,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll hear from the counselors on the floor or on, well, actually, we'll do the committee. Counselor Labrie.
Yes, hi, Steve. You had said 4,100 employees and retirees. Can you just break that down into how many city employees at the top of your head, round numbers?
They gotta be able to hear you.
2,600
And how many,
active employees, city employees.
okay, and how many school employees?
I would say about 2,000,
Okay. Then the rest retirees.
and then the rest retirees.
Okay, that's I just always, somebody always asks me how many employees we have, and it's just good information to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Brooks.
Yeah, I think that creating a redundancy in essence,
Shane, if you
creating a
could.
redundancy in essence by bringing on a second position will allow, obviously splitting the work and, will allow for some checks and balances that are probably not existent because you're literally just handling 4,100 individual cases each and every day, and it's getting through that backlog. I guess without getting into particulars of it, my understanding is we're starting to wind down on the results from the potential audit, and kind of what I'm hearing is that it certainly wasn't as expansive as some may like to lead people to
Right.
believe. And while having a casual relationship with the truth might be nice for some, for me, I much rather have a more static understanding. So do you have a timeline when you might be able to share with us kind of the outcomes?
We'll be having a meeting with the mayor and our insurance team on Friday,
Okay.
and then we should have more information after that.
Okay, great. And that will be released at some point
Yeah.
in the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and then get a sense of what not only the amount of individuals affected, but maybe the cost to the city. And
Right.
all
Yeah,
right.
we're getting all those numbers together to finalize now, so.
Yeah, and I think this, again, is the great step to create redundancies within the office. Obviously, as we look to attract and retain talent, we want to make sure that we're able to explain to them comprehensively what their benefit package may be. And then, you and a future colleague will be able to look at that and make sure
Okay.
that
People can't hear you.
I got the green light on and everything.
Yeah, well, I just got someone asking them. Thank you. Sometimes it's just.
Yeah, I blame the IT department. Maybe they need an assistant. I don't know. But yeah, I think that again, creating redundancies and allowing the workload to be split, and then kind of that check and balance that allows for oversight, not necessarily a supervisory oversight, but just a second set of eyes is always helpful. I find that a lot of the work that I do, my personal work, is that redundancies are very important to ensure that things get missed, and have a fresh set of eyes looking at a new document is oftentimes the difference between a mistake getting passed through and a mistake being identified. So I'm very much in support of this position. I hope we recommend to honor the request tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Balakir.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming in. I'm in favor of this, just based on the sheer numbers of what we have for city employees. I mean, it just makes sense. Rather than just have one person try to handle this, and it's just too many numbers. So, thanks for coming aboard, and I'm in favor of this. I think this is the right way to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the floor? Any counselors on Zoom that would like to speak?
Yeah, Mr. President, may I speak?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm in favor of the position. I mean, whatever the HR department needs to, to improve, I think the council is going to support, right? I just have a few questions. We got, in our email, it says that, there's employee self-service being offered now. So will this position help with that new program?
No. That's
Will, I'm sorry.
the trainer, our new HR trainer is doing the employee self-serve.
Will the insurance be part of the self-service, or will employees still have to go through HR to make changes to their insurance?
It will eventually, we're looking at rolling out electronic benefits once we have our open enrollment, probably March, April timeframe. We're working with IT now to see how Munis plays into that and what we can do to get that up and running. So it eventually will become electronically based, but we'll still need the team to be able to help balance bills, reconcile bills, make sure we've got the right people in the right program. So, but it'll help us electronically to have better control over everything.
Thank you for your response. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm all set.
Oh, no problem. Counselor Tillotson, do you have any questions? No.
Not at this time.
Thank you. I'll take a motion.
Motion to item 1.
Motion made and second to approve item number 1. Roll call, please.
Laflamme,
Yes.
Balakir,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
And the motion passes. Okay, we'll sign it all. And Counselor Tillotson is voting through Zoom. Here, you take care of this. Thank you. And this will go before a full board meeting.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah. You know, that's the record.
Thank you.
Okay, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor and none opposed. You just read it out.
I have one question before we let him go. This is all gonna be prorated, right, for the salary?
Yeah.
Okay, seeing that, we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
thanks
very
for
much.
coming in.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Coming in.
See you around City Hall.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2. Item number 2 is be it ordered that the finance committee meet to discuss the funding of an overheight warning system for the Prospect Street train trestle. Okay. And we have it present tonight on this item. We have the engineering, Doug Ellis, and we have Captain Watson from the police department, and we have Counselor Kushain who put this order in. Okay, we'll go with Counselor Kushain first. Let him, it's his order, so we'll let him speak first, and then we'll hear from the other two.
Yep, so Doug and I were out in the field 4 or 5 months ago. I
Just
guess.
could you put them, is
It's
your
on.
mic working?
It's on. Hello.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, you gotta get.
I'm
close.
looking at
Couldn't hear
me.
you. Couldn't hear you.
So it was one more thing, just trying to figure out how to get these trucks to pay attention since they can't read 12, 11.9 and 12.6 when we had it at that height, even though there's multiple signs leading up to the intersection. It just ties up way too much police resources when you have, the last time I saw somebody didn't get stuck, but they stopped in time, but needed 4 cruisers just to back them out. And it's, you know, our PD has much better things to do than deal with these guys who can't read signs. So the early warning system would at least alert them ahead of time, much ahead of time, because there is enough approach to the intersection where the cameras could be installed and the warning system could activate in time to get them to not go under the underpass. Hopefully, I know Doug said he would have, he'd be behind it if the mayor would appropriate the funds. So
Could
he better
you-
than I can tell
Could
you
you
about
grab
it.
another mic? People cannot hear you.
Oh.
I'm actually getting texts that they can't hear you.
They're going to scare you.
Well,
If
one,
you could
Bill,
put a
you
little-
can come up to the table and
You want to
use
come up
this
here?
one.
Bill, why don't you come up here? Those mics are lousy. It's not,
That was my spiel.
yeah, well, I'm sorry, but when I'm getting texts that people can't hear, they gotta be allowed to hear. So if you can just, unfortunately, you're gonna have to say it one more time, not that we want to hear it twice.
Just give the
But
clip
we'll allow
note
you.
version.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just again, like I said, to help one more thing, hopefully we can eliminate this problem and stop tying up police resources for these drivers who can't read the signs.
Thank you. Any other comments from anybody before I open up to the committee? Seeing none. Any public input here? No public input on the floor. Any public input on Zoom on item number 2? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it come to fruition. It really needs,
Jim, hold on,
Uh,
please. I'm doing public input. Thank you.
Motion to close public. input
Motion
on
made
item
and second to
number 2.
close item, public input on item number 2. Roll call.
Laflamme,
Yes.
Valakir,
Yes,
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
yes,
Roy,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you. And the motion passes. Okay, now we'll hear from the committee regarding the questions on this. Counselor Tillotson.
yeah, I've been on the council a long time, as most of you know, and that's been an issue right along. I'm hoping we can come up with a plan that will prevent the trucks from getting stuck under there again. So I support anything that will help eliminate that problem.
Thank you. Counselor Balakir.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious as to what the actual ownership is of this train trestle, if the city is involved with all, or if this is just strictly with the railroad. On that.
Counselor, either one, Counselor Brooks.
No, I'm not answering this question. I'm raising my hand to
Okay,
ask an
I
additional
can-
question.
Yeah, you can answer that. Go ahead.
So
You-
when I put up the signs, it took 14 months because Mass DOT train oversees it, but Pan Am runs it and Amtrak owns it. So that's why it took me 14 months to get those signs up, because you had to get all those people together. So everybody's a little piece, but the city has nothing to do with it.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. Counselor Brooks.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear from our engineering,
Yep,
the
I was
police
gonna have
department
that
on
right
their,
after, yeah.
their perspective about, what they found out there. I mean, it's kind of the running joke, if you're down by Al's Diner and you see a truck stuck, it's like, somebody can't read again. And yeah, they have a CDL. That's a little bit scary, but what do the numbers look like for the past year? Have the signs that Councilor Corshane has had installed, have they had any kind of impact on a decrease in people getting stuck underneath that? Numbers?
Want to speak to the,
Okay. I mean, I see a chart, so I'm assuming it's
there
pretty
was,
self-explanatory.
Yeah, there was three crashes there in the bridge in this past year. There was one the previous year, 0 and 21,
Yeah.
1 and 20, but there was 4 and 5 in the previous years, 19 and 18 before that.
Okay.
So I mean, it definitely makes sense to do. In this case where you only got that short section of Prospect Street,
Mhm.
we're gonna need 4 of these systems, one for Buckley,
Right.
1 by Al's Diner, and 2 on Chicopee Street.
Will there be any land taking, or is it going to be within the easement? that
No,
the
we'd
city
be
owns?
able to do that within the right of way.
Okay.
I don't see
Perfect.
any need for any land taking.
All right, great. That was it.
Mr. Roy.
we get a quote or an estimate?
We've asked for a quote from Ocean State. We haven't received it yet, though.
Counselor LeBrie.
So it's not our trestle, it's not our chain checks. Is there something that Amtrak, DOT, somebody else, I mean, if I own that, I'd want to put as much sign around it, as I can, so people wouldn't hit it. Because I know there was one bad accident there where they had to look at if there was any damage done to the trestle. But someday somebody's gonna go through there pretty fast and make that, put it down for a while. I don't know how, I know they use it often now. They run those Amtraks through it, but again, I don't know how much the funding is, but is that something we can ask them, or, if that's something they do in other towns? Pay for some of this signage.
That I do
and,
not know. I'd have to look into that.
But not that I'm opposed. I know it's not gonna be an exorbitant amount of money, but I think we might be able to get some reimbursement, down the road.
Definitely worth checking.
So if I may, I'd like to speak a minute. I don't need a roll call for it, so.
No.
Okay, I agree with Counselor LeBrie. I think this is a great idea. I'm for it 100%. We need to do something. I prefer to maybe place this on file and to get the information. We're showing that we have the support, because nothing can be done without the mayor's approval of budgeting it. And I'm not inclined to approve something without a monetary amount of money, what it's gonna cost the taxpayer. So we are here basically tonight to support it 100% and allow the ward counselor and the engineering and whoever to come up with a final figure and a layout for us.
I have a question for the police department when you get done.
Can I just finish?
No.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to make, later someone make a motion just to place it on file for more information. But this will show to the mayor and us that we want to move forward with it and get all that information.
Before you make the motion, I have a question.
I
for the
can't
police
make the motion
department.
first.
No, I want to.
Counselor Roy.
Yeah, thank you. Captain, is it?
Yes.
Have we ever ticketed anybody that's hit that?
I think in most of these accidents, they've been ticketed.
Now, do they get charged?
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody would be
Now, who
charged.
gets the
for it.
money for that? The Amtrak or whoever? Railroad company
tickets?
get the money for that?
Standard ticket, just like if someone was speeding.
No, but
That's
I mean,
nothing.
if they get charged for the damage.
Most of these have said that the bridge wasn't damaged in any way. I don't think there's. What's that? Yeah, I think most of them say that they've had people come out and check and they've never really found any damage to the bridge.
I think it would be up to them to go themselves.
After restitution.
Restitution for
Absolutely.
themselves, nothing
Sure.
to do with the city, as it doesn't belong to us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You all set? Yes, sir. Counselor Bree.
Can
second
I
time.
ask Captain Watson, do you have a number of, like in the last couple of years, how many times you've been called on there to that bridge?
So we have a minimum of, this isn't perfect representation, just the way our system searches itself, but we had a minimum of 14 over the last 5 years. 3 this,
So 14 each year minimum?
14 over the last.
Over
5
the
years,
last 5
14 total, but 3 so far this year.
Okay.
If I may, that's 14, but how many got to that point where it caused everything to back up? Police officers to go there to help that tractor trailer get out that says, oh boy, I'm not gonna make it.
So that doesn't count that then?
No.
Not at all. These
That's
are
just somebody get hit it.
That's actual,
actual accidents, like you've mentioned, that's happened.
because I've been
Much
here
more.
I'm sorry, I've been here many times and they had to have cops back them all the way
Yeah.
up to get them out of there.
We've all seen it.
Council
yeah.
Kushein,
Yeah.
second time and.
So I guess my question on the report was, because I've asked for that report years ago, and I was told it couldn't be done because you don't know what address the officer used for the, the report, whether it's Prospect, Chicopee Street, sometimes Yale Street. So is that accumulation of all the different possible addresses to get a total?
So unfortunately, our system doesn't, like I said, it doesn't search itself well. So someone used another program to access the database and do some other searches. So this is probably a low number, to be honest.
Yeah.
And we're
So,
fine with that.
because you're right, it is hard if they use a different address or if they didn't report it correctly.
Right.
So you can only, you can only go in a database and search it
Yeah.
so
Okay.
well, so.
Right.
Thank you,
that's-
Council. Thank you, Council Brooks.
Yeah, and I think to the captain's point, I think it's hard to discern what your man hours and expenses are at that point. So if you're 3 deep because it's 10:30 in the morning, that looks remarkably different than if it's 2:35 and school's just let out and you have parents picking up children at Bellamy and using the crossroads and you're now 15, 16 cars deep. The amount of time and the amount of dispatch to the scene may look remarkably different depending on what time frame of the day you have to respond to somebody who doesn't know that his rig is going to make it under the bridge or not. So I think that's the part that becomes difficult. There's really no clear indicator on how you put a price point on what the response cost is for each individual event, because it really varies by time of day, time, level of traffic that's on the road. I would imagine that in the fall and spring, it's probably a little less traveled because people are at work, but in summertime when people are on vacations and where schools are letting out, all the variables that are involved in that change. Captain Watson going singularly and now he's grabbing Shane and Doug and now there's 3 of us there and we're going to spend 3 to 4 hours cleaning up the traffic mess. So I think the signs will help, and it's unfortunate we won't be able to gather empirical data to support what the cost estimates are per event. But I think that if we can minimize the number of events, then we inherently know we're saving money on the response costs. So I think this is great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Roy, third time.
Third time.
3 times.
Go ahead.
We count to 3. Did we get any kind of an estimate as what this might cost?
No, we've requested one. It hasn't come in yet.
All right, motion to place on the file. To call it a chair.
Thank you. Let me just make sure there's any city councilor on Zoom that want to talk on item number 2.
Yeah, on Zoom, I would like to refer to the engineering department as they come up with a plan to solve this problem. This problem has been going on for at least as long as I can remember. Yeah, everybody was hoping every day that there wouldn't be a big truck that would get stuck under there. Because when that happens, it plugs up everything.
Thank
So
you.
I think we need to bring it to fruition now. That's one of as I'm leaving the council, as everyone knows, I would like to see that done as one of my last 3 endeavors, that we
The last
form
one.
refer it to the engineering department and have Mr. Ellis come in with a plan and a cost,
Thank
so
you.
that we can move it forward or figure out a way to solve the problem.
That's the plan. We're going to have them come back.
Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. Motion made by Councilor Roy motion to place on file for more information.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I suggest maybe a motion to postpone to the call of the chair and not place on file, because you want to bring it back.
Postpone to the call of the chair.
I would like to support that motion.
You'd like to what?
support it.
Mumble.
I would like to support that motion that,
Yeah, we got you, Jim. You can do that when we call the roll call.
okay,
Thank you. Okay, let's have a
you're
roll.
welcome.
Laflamme,
Yes.
Balakir,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
Yes,
Roy,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
And the motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3.
Motion to accept the minutes of July 31st, 2023.
Motion made in second that we approve minutes from July 31st, 2023. Any comments? Seeing none, I'll take a motion. You made the motion, I'll second it. Roll call.
Laflamme,
Yes.
Balakir,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
yes,
Roy,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
And the motion passes.
Topaz is gone, right?
No, he's not on.
No.
And the motion passes. I'll take
Motion to adjourn.
motion made in second to adjourn. Roll call.
Laflamme,
Yes.
Balakir,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
yes.
Roy, Brooks.
Roy?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Thank you. And the motion passes. Everybody have a great night.
Now you two.